Continuing through An Orestia, translated by Anne Carson, I now come to the second play in this collection, Elektra by Sophokles. Now, before I get started, I probably should make the same disclaimer that I've been making with all of these Greek tragedies, which is that this is going to be a very superficial run-through of this play. This is my first time reading it, so, I'm not going to claim to have fully absorbed it, and there is a whole mountain of literature about these plays, critiquing these plays, explaining these plays, and I've not read any of that. So I'm just going to talk through my experience reading this and maybe add in a few of the things I've learned. Like I said, I've not done a lot of research on this. I've read the Wikipedia page on this play. I've read the introduction by the translator Anne Carson herself. And I watched a video on this play by the Center for Hellenic Studies, which is on YouTube, and I'll link to that. They do a Zoom performance during the COVID lockdown, and they interspersed that with some commentary on the play, in which I picked up a few interesting tidbits. So I may intersperse that commentary or those things I've learned in with this review. It's not really much of a review so much as just talking through the play. But anyways, let's get into it. So Elektra is the story of Elektra, right? So it's retelling the revenge story of Orestes and Elektra. Now, their father, Agamemnon, has been killed by their mother, Clytemnestra. And so in order to avenge their father, they have to kill their mother. It's a classic moral dilemma. According to the rules of ancient Greece, you cannot allow your father to be unavenged. His ghost will haunt you. You've got a duty to avenge your father, but the problem here is that the person who killed their father is their mother. So if they kill their mother, then they're going to be tormented by the Furies for killing a family member. So that is the dilemma that Elektra and Orestes find themselves in. Kind of. Actually, Sophokles downplays, at least in my reading, he downplays the moral dilemma aspect of this, which was stronger in Aeschylus. But I'll come back to that in a moment. So Elektra is the daughter. Orestes is the son. So they're brother and sister, and together they want to avenge their father's murder. Now, this play has been done 3 times by all 3 of the surviving Greek tragic playwrights. Aeschylus did it in part 2 of his Orestia trilogy, which I read in this edition here. And it's named, I'm not even sure how to pronounce this, Chophori here. But it's usually translated into English as the libation bearers. And this is where Orestes is coming back to avenge his father, and meanwhile Elektra is keeping watch over the father's grave and waiting for Orestes. This is the same story then done by Sophokles. And it's not in this collection, but Euripides also did a play called Elektra. And Aeschylus, Sophokles, and Euripides are the only 3 surviving Greek playwrights that we have. So they all did a version of this Elektra story. So I guess this must have been very popular in Greek drama. Although one of the tidbits I picked up on this is that Aeschylus's version was already famous by the time Sophokles and Euripides were writing. So they were writing in response to Aeschylus's version, or as a way to kind of, as the YouTube video at the Center for Hellenic Studies puts it, flex their dramatic muscles, kind of show off what they could do with this story, which is already made famous by Aeschylus. It's not Aeschylus' original story. The story goes back at least to the 8th century BC. It's mentioned in Homer's Odyssey. But Aeschylus it did a famous version of it in the 4th century BC. Anyways, so I've not read the version by Euripides. There's a play by Euripides in this collection, but I haven't read it yet, and that's besides which it's not that play. Euripides also did a play also called Elektra, but it's not in this collection. I've not read it. So I'm just comparing Sophokles' Elektra to the Libation Bearers one by Aeschylus, which I read in this collection. And there are a number of interesting differences, although they are the same story. One of the differences is Elektra is now given title billing in Sophokles' version. So in Aeschylus' version, the main story is Orestes coming back, and Elektra is kind of a side character. Here, Elektra is the main character, and she is in mourning for her father and in conflict with her mother. So she starts out mourning, and the Greek chorus is telling her to calm down and stop mourning. So here's the chorus that's opposite Elektra. It said, "Your mother is evil, but oh my child, why melt your life away in mourning? Why let grief eat you alive? It was long ago she took your father. Her hand came out of unholy dark and cut him down. I curse the one who did the deed, if this is right to say." So yeah, they're saying, okay, he's dead, but why go on mourning? And Elektra defends her right to mourn. She says, "He is my father. I cannot but grieve." And this is something that Anne Carson also draws attention to in her introduction to this play. That Elektra is just defined by her grieving for her father. And Elektra also has some conflict with her mother, Clytemnestra, which I don't think was in the Aeschylus' version. So they give speeches at each other in which they both argue and justify their position. Yeah, so here's Clytemnestra, Elektra's mother, who comes out to yell at her. Yeah. "Yet you love to make me the text of your lectures." This is Elektra's mother arguing with her, or berating her, maybe. "What an arrogant, bitch-minded tyrant I am, a living insult to you and your whole way of life. Whole way of being. But do I in fact insult you? No, I merely return the muck you throw at me. Father, 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 your perpetual excuse. Your father got his death from me. From me, that's right, I will make no denial. It was justice who took him, not I alone." And then she gives her justification for why she murdered Agamemnon. And then Elektra gives her counter to that. So it's a good back and forth here, very dramatic. At the end, Elektra says to her mother, she says, "Call me base-minded, black-mouthing bitch, if you like. For if this is my nature, we know how I come by it, don't we?" Elektra is taking center stage now in this drama. she is the one who is mourning for her father and longing for vengeance. Now, she cannot get the vengeance herself in this version. Orestes, she's waiting for Orestes, her brother, to come in and take the vengeance. So I guess in a way this could be maybe construed as not very feminist. That the fact that Elektra doesn't feel like she has agency to take the revenge herself. Like if this had been a modern story, maybe Elektra would have killed her mother herself and killed her mother's lover herself rather than waiting for her brother to come and do it. So I don't know if we can read into that some ancient sexism. On the other hand, I don't know. To confront these two with a sword and actually kill them like Orestes does at the end of the play. That is kind of something that maybe would require a stronger hand, right? I don't know. But yeah, I guess in the version of this play, Elektra can't take the act of revenge herself, so she just needs to wait for Orestes to come back. Now, while she's waiting for Orestes to come back, she's in constant conflict with her mother and her mother's lover, so much that they're plotting to lock her away. And her sister, how do you pronounce this? Chrysotemis, has heard that they're going to lock Elektra away because of her constant mourning. So here's the spot here. I'll tell you what I know. They plan, unless you cease from this morning, to send you where you will not see the sun again. You'll be singing your songs, alive in a room in a ground. And Chrysotemis is trying to talk some sense into Elektra to stop rebelling against her mother and her mother's lover and just give in to them. And they have a back and forth here, which very much reminds me of the conflict between Antigone and her sister in the play Antigone, which I read also by Sophokles, which I read out of this version. No surprises, I guess. Antigone and Elektra are both by Sophokles. So I guess some of the same themes are reappearing. In both plays, the sister is pleading with the heroine to just give in and have an easy life, and the heroine is maintaining that they are going to do what's right no matter what the suffering is. And I guess in the case of Antigone, it was a matter of disobeying an unjust law. Here in the case of Elektra, it's a matter of just kind of holding on to your righteous vengeance. Now, Elektra is holding on to her mourning, Orestes is plotting his return. And this is something that actually started off the very beginning of the play, where we see Orestes and an old man, enter old man and Orestes to plot Orestes' return. Orestes is going to fake his death. So Elektra is not in on this plot. So she gets delivered news that Orestes is dead because she's taken in by the same deceit that everyone else is. And so she goes through a mourning speech. And then a little bit later, Orestes himself comes, and Elektra doesn't recognize him because they haven't seen each other since Orestes was a little child. And Orestes brings an urn which supposedly contains the ashes of Orestes. He's pretending to be a martyr. So then there's another mourning scene once Elektra gets the urn. Now, Anne Carson says in her introduction to this play that having those two mourning scenes back to back somewhat muddle the emotional arc of the play. So this part here. Why does Orestes decide to trick his sister into thinking he's dead? Why does he give it up in the middle? What does Sophokles want to achieve here? The alterations of lies and truths, high emotion and low, is bewildering and cruel. The tug of war over an empty urn almost bizarre. And then she has a quote here from Fiona Shaw. To have decided your brother is dead, then to hear he's alive, and then to hear he's dead again, and then to hear he's alive again, scrambles the brain. Actually, having read that quote, though, that's, yeah. Oh, okay, no, that is how it goes, because the sister does bring in reports that he's alive. Elektra doesn't entirely believe it. Elektra maintains he's dead. But then Orestes comes in with the urn, pretending to be dead again. So there are two kind of scenes where Elektra is mourning Orestes before she finds out he's actually alive. But anyways, once they get that in, then it's vengeance time. Now, they go in and kill Clytemnestra and her lover Aegisthus. I never remember how to pronounce some of these names. One of the things which is not evident in this edition, or in the introduction to this edition, but which I picked up from that Center for the Hellenic Studies video, is apparently the casting of this that Sophokles did was Orestes and Clytemnestra were played by the same actor. In ancient Greek drama, the men would play the parts of the women as well. I guess Clytemnestra and Orestes are never on stage at the same time. Clytemnestra is killed off stage by Orestes, as all the characters are killed off stage. But then the symbolism of having them both be played by the same actor is killing yourself. Which I guess is kind of an interesting symbolism. Killing your own mother, killing the person who gave birth to you, killing yourself. But that being said, like I said earlier in this video, in the version of Aeschylus, we get much more of the moral dilemma about, like, how can you avenge your father by killing your mother? I mean, either way, you're killing a parent to avenge a parent. Do you take on the sacrilege of killing your mother, or do you take on the sacrilege of leaving your father unavenged? But that more of the dilemma does not seem to come to the forefront of Sophocles' play. At least not in my reading. I don't see Clytemnestra or Orestes agonize much over killing their mother. They just both seem dead set on this plan to do it. So they kill Clytemnestra first, which again is another difference from Aeschylus' play, in which the man Aegisthus gets killed first and then Clytemnestra second. But then once Clytemnestra is killed, then they kill... Yeah, here it is. How is this pronounced again? Aegisthus. They kill Aegisthus. There's a clever little thing where they cover up a corpse, and they say it's Orestes' corpse, but it's really Clytemnestra's corpse. Now, if what I heard on that Center for Hellenic Studies video is true, that Orestes and Clytemnestra are played by the same actor, I don't know how this would be staged. Maybe you just get a prop for the dead body. I don't know. But then once they kill Aegisthus, then it ends on a triumphant note. They've killed their father's murderers. It's avenged. The chorus says, "O seed of Atreus, you suffered and broke free. You took aim and struck. You have won your way through to the finish line," which is different to the ending in Aeschylus' version. In Aeschylus' version, having killed his mother, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, in Aeschylus's version, having killed his mother, Orestes immediately is set upon by the Furies, who are there to avenge the crime of matricide. So that is not in Sophokles' version, which is interesting change. I mean, there's a whole bunch of little changes from Sophokles' version, from Aeschylus's version to Sophokles' version. And I'm sure each one of those little changes is significant, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of literature on why each of those changes was made. But I'm not going to attempt to parse it all out. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this is my first time reading through it, and I've not engaged with any of the literature around it. But it was an interesting take on this story. And I guess that's one of the things about the Greek stories is there's a fair amount of flexibility in how you tell them, depending on what you want to emphasize. Okay, I'll leave it there. I don't think I have anything more intelligent to say. So the next the next story in this collection is going to be Orestes by Euripides. So I'll come to that one next.